Agenda Setting Theory by Forrest Crocker. Agenda setting theory was created by Maxwell McCombs and Donald Shaw. Agenda setting theory is objective and falls under the socio-psychological tradition, meaning that the theory focuses heavily on an individual as a socialized being that is part of a network of people, but still independent in their actions. This theory looks at how that network, in this case the media, plays a role in the news and information the individual receives. Agenda setting theory rests on two basic assumptions. The first one states that media frames reality instead of sharing a perfect reflection of it. The second assumption states that the more attention the media gives to certain issues, the more likely the public will be to label those issues as important. In other words, agenda setting theory doesn't necessarily tell people how they should think or feel about certain issues, but rather what issues they should think about. The more a story or issue is publicized in the media, the more prominent it is stored in the person's memories. An example that comes to my mind from this is from the release of information surrounding the Mueller report. Before the information was released, I was driving through a very country part of North Carolina and Virginia, listening to a local radio. I heard a very conservative perspective on their opinion of the report to come. Later in the day, I was watching a news story called Stay Tuned, a byproduct of NBC. Their channel is known for being a lot more liberal. Both of these channels were reporting on the same topic, so I knew the importance of the issue, but their stories and opinions on the report to come were not the same. This is a perfect example of priming and framing. Priming is used to describe the amount of content that is given to a topic, giving some topics more or less coverage than others. Framing is the selective control of the content, the showing of certain sides or attitudes towards the topic. On my way home, I happened to tune back into the same station after the report information had been released, and later that night watched Stay Tuned's take on it. The two sources were reporting on the same topic, yet had two drastically different sides. The part of the reports they emphasized were different and used that to frame and back up their personal claims about the report. The local radio station placed emphasis on the facts that the report had come back clean of any known illegal activity and criticized the Democratic Party for not being satisfied with the report, whereas NBC placed emphasis on how it was not discussed how the report came to this conclusion with evidence, talked about other reports that were also underway, and focused on different aspects other than what Mueller's report did and other aspects that undermined Mueller's findings. Regardless of what side you're on, you can see a vast difference between these two media outlets when they are telling the same story, simply by shifting the emphasis on the parts of the story they deem most important. Because of this, it is important to fact check, research multiple sides of an issue, and take everything with a grain of salt.